The regular council meeting of Wednesday, January 15th, 2025 in Cayce City Hall chambers. The press and public have been notified according to the Freedom of Information Act.
Yes, Mayor.
Thank you. And with the addition to the change in the executive
revised,
session?
yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, perfect. I believe you have an invocation.
Yes, ma'am.
Steve?
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Pray at me if you choose. God, thank you so much for this beautiful day. Thank you so much for allowing us to wake up and see a new day in 2025 in Cayce, South Carolina. God, if it be your will, please, just keep us safe this year. Allow us to work together for our citizens and bring our community together. And God, just please keep all those in California and uplift them and keep them safe, as well as those still affected from Hurricane Helene. Any national disaster, just please uplift those people and let them know that you're still there. And God, if it be your will, please allow us to have a peaceful transition of power over the weekend. And God, just thank you so much for allowing us to wake up in the best country on earth, the United States of America. In the name of Jesus, I pray, amen.
Amen. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have the approval of minutes from December 3rd and December 18th.
Move that we approve both sets of minutes.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? I'll call the question.
Mayor Pro Tem James.
Yes.
Councilmember Thomas.
Yes.
Councilmember Socks.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, thank you, so moved. We have public comment regarding items on the agenda?
No one signed up, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. We have a presentation of the City of Cayce fiscal year 2023-2024 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report by Malden and Jenkins CPA.
Well, thank you all for having me to go over the results of our audit of the city for its fiscal year ended June 30, 2024. My name's Grant Davis. I'm a partner with Malden Jenkins, and I think you've got hard copies in front of you of really two items. One, the big one, the thick one, is the annual comprehensive financial report. It says it right front and center. Our reports are in that document. The second document is much smaller, ultimately, and we call that our auditor's discussion and analysis. And the purpose of that document is to communicate to you all in writing some things that we're required to communicate under government auditing standards at the conclusion of our audit. I'll go through some of that with you, the most relevant parts of it, but again, all of those required communications are memorialized in that document. And then there's some brief analysis of the fiscal year ended from a financial perspective and a look at some accounting standards that are due to be implemented in the coming years. So with that, if you're in the ACFR itself, page number 1, the first page with an actual number at the bottom of it, begins our independent auditor's report. And second paragraph in that, you'll see that we've issued an unmodified report, or what we would otherwise call a clean opinion. So good news right off the bat relative to that. And I will mention as I go through this, we've ultimately issued 3 reports in this document. The first is at the beginning. That's one I just mentioned. The second 2 are at the very end, and I'll get to those as we sort of move through. But just in the way of sort of some brief financial analysis, the general fund is always, or seems to always be, of primary interest in any municipality. And on page 14 and page 16, page 14 you can see the balance sheet of the general fund, and page 16 the income statement of the general fund. And if you're following along there on page 14, you'll notice fund balance at the very bottom of the page there in the general fund column of $11.3 million. And then importantly, the unassigned portion of that. And that unassigned portion is basically that portion of fund balance that's available for appropriation that's not subject to some external restriction. Revenues on page, if you go to page 16.
I'm sorry, the unassigned is how much?
About 8.2 million.
8.2?
8.174, you see it?
Yeah.
8.17.
On page 14?
Yeah.
Oh, above that. Okay, I see it. All
Yeah.
right.
So total fund balance of about 11.3 and unassigned 8.2.
Thank you.
page 16, you can see revenues of about 17.3 million versus expenditures of about 18.7 million. Ultimately, fund balance in the general fund increased about $787,000 from 2023 to 2024. If you just take a moment to look back at that expenditure total, if you take that $18.7 million in expenditures and just divide it by 12, you get about $1.6 million a month. So the general fund's spending about $1.6 million a month. And if we look at that as a function of that unassigned fund balance, you get about 5 months of unassigned fund balance, which is a really healthy place to be, considering the June 30 year end and the cyclical nature of your major revenue streams being property tax, in the general fund that is, being property taxes and business licenses all coming in at very specific times of the year, not ratably throughout the year. So to be at June and have enough of a reserve, enough unassigned fund balance to get you through the rest of the year, I think again is a very healthy and certainly positive place to be. Beyond that, there are a few things that I wanted to mention. As I noted before, there are 2 additional reports in the document. I don't remember the specific page number. I have it in front of me, but I think it begins on page 115, 116, something like that. Again, no, excuse me, 108. Page 108 is the second of 3 reports that we've issued. That is what we call our Yellow Book report. That is our report on internal controls and compliance with laws, regulations, grant agreements, so forth and so on. The purpose of that report is to provide what we call negative assurance, which is not an opinion. But if you glance through that report, you'll see that we're required to plan and perform our audit in accordance with government auditing standards. As a part of that, if we identify any instances of noncompliance or any internal control deficiencies that are material to the financial statements, we're required to report those to you all. I'm happy to say we did not note any instances of noncompliance or internal control deficiencies to report. And then the third and final report is just after that, 2 pages later. So on page 110, and that's our compliance report. So you're probably familiar with this, but anytime you spend over $750,000 in federally sourced monies, it triggers a compliance audit. That was a requirement for this fiscal year 24. We audited the coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds program of the city, which was the vast majority of the city's federal expenditures for this fiscal year. And we do offer an opinion on this one, on compliance, and I'm happy to say that it's also unmodified or a clean opinion on compliance. So in all 3 reports, really the best result that you can get in a financial statement audit. Just a few, what we call those required communications that I mentioned at the very beginning that are in that auditor's discussion and analysis document. We didn't have any disagreements with management. We didn't have any significant difficulties in conducting or performing the audit. We didn't have any material audit adjustments, so things that we identified that needed to be adjusted throughout the audit of a material nature. And ultimately, we're independent of the city as required by our professional standards. So briefly, that's the audit sort of in summary. I'm happy to answer any questions you have, if you may have any.
Gentlemen? I'd love to get with you later and go over a couple of questions one-on-one, if that'd be okay. All right?
Sure.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you,
Thank you.
Kelly.
Thank
Amazing
you.
job as always.
Way to go, Kelly.
Next, we have discussion and approval of ordinance 2025-01, amending the zoning map and rezoning property located at Dixiana Road. This is tax map number 006899-01-027 from M1 to M2. This is the first reading.
Madam Mayor, members of council, the applicant owner has requested the rezoning of approximately 82 acres on Dixiana Road from M1 to M2. The M2 zoning district supports industrial uses that may not be compatible with more sensitive areas, which is why it is typically located in more isolated and buffered regions. The requested M2 zoning is compatible with the city's comprehensive plan and future land use map. The Planning Commission reviewed the proposed map amendments at its regularly scheduled meeting on December 16, 2024. No public comments were made in favor or against the proposed changes. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended that council approve the rezoning of tax map number 006899-01-027 from from M1 to M2.
Is there a motion for,
Motion to approve, Mayor.
Second.
okay, any discussion? Okay, if we can get some more information before second reading, that'd be great. Thank you so much. I'll call the question.
Mayor Pro Tem James.
Yes.
Councilmember Thomas.
Yes.
Councilmember Socks.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, thank you, so moved. Next, we have discussion and approval of ordinance 2025-02, annexing two properties located on Dixiana Road. This is tax map number 006899-01-029 and 006899-01-030, and assigning M2 zoning designations. This is the first reading.
Yes, the applicant owners request the annexation of two parcels on Dixiana Road, which is adjacent to this property before, totaling approximately 14.6 acres. In addition to the annexation, the applicant seeks M2 zoning designation for these properties as well. The M2 zoning district is designed to accommodate industrial uses that may not be compatible with certain environments. The requested M2 zoning aligns with the city's comprehensive plan and future use land map. If approved, these parcels will be incorporated into the applicant's larger 82-acre property on Dixiana Road. The Planning Commission reviewed the proposed map amendments at its regularly scheduled meeting on December 16, 2024. No public comments were made in favor or against the proposed changes. The Planning Commission unanimously recommends that the City Council approve the annexation tax map number 006-899-01-029 and 006-899-01-030 and assign the M2 zoning designation.
Is there a motion for said recommendation?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? I'll call the question.
Mayor Pro Tem James.
Yes.
Councilmember Thomas.
Yes.
Councilmember Socks.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, thank you, so moved. We have discussion and approval to amend the 2025 council meeting dates.
Yes, Mayor, what we're looking at those councilman dates, November 4, 2025 is the election day, so we would like to go ahead and cancel that meeting and just have one meeting on November 19th for that month of November. If we do need to have a special call meeting, we still have that.
Sure. Okay. Is there a motion to approve?
Move that we approve the updated council dates for 2025.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? I'll call the question.
Mayor Pro Tem James.
Yes.
Councilmember Thomas.
Yes.
Councilmember Socks.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, thank you, so moved. We have a request for approval to enter the following committee approved minutes into the city's record. You have Planning Commission from November 18th, 2024.
Move that we approve Planning Commission's minutes.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? I'll call the question.
Mayor Pro Tem James.
Yes.
Councilmember Thomas.
Yes.
Councilmember Socks.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, thank you, so moved. We have appointments and reappointments. Before you, you have Events Committee, one position.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So Events Committee, there are a number of openings there, but there is a potential member application from Ms. Teresa Mitchell. You have that application before you for your review.
Motion to appoint Ms. Teresa Mitchell.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? I'll call the question.
Mayor Pro Tem James.
Yes.
Councilmember Thomas.
Yes.
Councilmember Socks.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, thank you, so moved. We have Ms. Kelly West, term on the Beautification Foundation. It expires this month, and she would like to serve again. She has been on the foundation for 3 years and consistently attends meetings.
Motion to reapprove and reappoint Ms. Kelly West.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? I'll call the question.
Mayor Pro Tem James.
Yes.
Councilmember Thomas.
Yes.
Councilmember Socks.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, thank you, so moved. We have Museum Commission. You have one position, Ms. Marcy Hayden's term on the Museum Commission expires this month, and she would like to serve again. She has served on the commission since 2022, serves as the secretary, and I believe she is also consistently attending.
Motion to reappoint Ms. Marcy Hayden.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? I'll call the question.
Mayor Pro Tem James.
Yes.
Councilmember Thomas.
Yes.
Councilmember Socks.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, thank you, so moved. Standard Technical Codes Board of Appeals. We have Mr. Travis Basnet's term. It expires in January. He was appointed to the board in 2022 and would like to serve again. This is a board that is required by state law. They rarely meet, but is there if needed.
Motion to reappoint Mr. Travis Basnet to the
Second.
Standard Technical Code Board of Appeals.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? I'll call the question.
Mayor Pro Tem James.
Yes.
Councilmember Thomas.
Yes.
Councilmember Socks.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, thank you, so moved. We have the annual appointment of council members to city foundations. What say you, council?
I say that, I've heard no one say they want to be reassigned, so maybe we stick with where we are?
I don't think Phil would be too happy if we stuck him on one while he wasn't here.
Oh, nobody likes it when you take people off committees when they're not here.
No.
I'm good.
I make a motion that we just remain as we are, Mayor.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
None.
I'll call the question.
Mayor Pro Tem James.
Yes.
Councilmember Thomas.
Yes.
Councilmember Socks.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, thank you, so moved. I love it when a council works together. We have the city manager's report.
City manager report, finance reports, the OpenGov system, our new software system for budgeting, procurement, grants, and transfers ahead of schedule. City directors have already completed their capital improvement plan request for FY26 in the new system. We won't go over any numbers yet so far, but we are working. The first RFP, new procurement module is scheduled to close tomorrow in that OpenGov, and that's our revitalization consultant. We received the full amount of our federal grant award for the police to help us out with our Axon project from the federal government, $858,000, we received that. If anybody got to see our new welcome sign at the Department of Health, right there at the Old Dominion property, we have a little QR code right there. You can go by and scan that, preferably if you stop your car to scan it. Go to our website, which gives a list of our restaurants and our attractions for the city. Glenwood Park RFP has been completed. We brought before you for February 4th meeting. And our first meeting with Code Rewrite, initial plan is for them to brief council in March. So we're off on a good schedule for the year. Thank you.
Nice, thanks, Jim. That's awesome. Council comments?
I do have a few. Could you introduce Chief Wade?
Chief Wade is back. Chief Wade is on loan from us from West Columbia. He's the assistant police chief over there, and he's here in basically he's an advisory position to help us, and he's doing a fantastic job. Great demeanor, great guy, known him for a long time, so thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Chief, I just want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for coming across Knox Abbott to be able to work with your sister city for a little while. Mayor, being that we're rapidly on time here, I wanted to just give an update on Joint Municipal Water and Sewer Commission. You know, a lot of things that some people don't really even know about the Joint Municipal Water and Sewer Commission is it came together in 1992, and it was born out of a need for economic development. The infrastructure of water and sewer was not there in 1992, but some of the leaders years ago recognized that if we didn't push water and sewer and the capabilities thereof, the infrastructure would never be there, and therefore we would never be able to bring such large projects in. So since 1992, now 30 years later, in 1992 it began with just 4 partners: the County of Lexington, the City of Cayce, the Pillion, and Swansea were the only 4 that actually were the first ones of it 30 years ago. Now there's 11 partners. 11 partners. If nothing shows the growth of that, I think that does. And significant growth with economic development because of the Joint Municipal Water and Sewer Commission. Currently there's 21,000 retail customers with the Joint Municipal Water and Sewer Commission, which we are one of the largest partners. The City of Cayce, which the mayor has served there for many years with water and sewer, other mayors and city council members throughout serve, because without the partnership, you would not have that water and sewer and to be able to bring big projects. But 21,000 retail water and 7,000 retail sewer customers just through the Joint Municipal Water and Sewer Commission. It's growing at about 4 to 5% every single year, continues to grow, so economic development is working. Those retailers continue to come. 2 of the biggest projects that are currently underway with the Joint Municipal Water and Sewer Commission, one is the Lake Murray Water Project, and that water system that continues to grow is 50% complete at this time, and the other is the Batesburg-Leesville Water Supply Project. running large pipes all the way from city of West Columbia and a little bit out on the outside of that and outskirts of that, all the way to Batesburg, Leesville. Many of you attended the first ground digging on that, and that's about 60% complete now. And it's moving along very, very quickly. It's a $22 million project, and it is also a SCIP grant, much like what we've had here. The other thing, the town of Swansea has fallen on some tough times with utilities, so the Joint Municipal Water and Sewer Commission has taken over the operations of the Swansea Town Water and Sewer and some of their projects that they're doing just as a partner, and trying to get them through those tough times that they're faced with right now, because again, that's areas that you're going to see economic development in the future, so they want to continue to make that work. So I just want to take a moment just to give you a little update about the Joint Municipal Water and Sewer Commission and what's going on there.
Yeah, they're one of our biggest customers.
That's exactly right, and one of our biggest customers, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So when we built that wastewater treatment plant, the new one that we built, it's our plant, but the two big customers that are in the contract with us are the Joint Municipal Water Sewer Commission and the town of Lexington. So we're not their customers, they are our customer. So the city of Cayce is the 6th largest utility provider in the entire state, thanks to our great staff. So, thank you. Thanks,
I have
Tom.
a few
Please.
words, ma'am. So it's an honor to serve, and I was appointed by this council to represent our city on the Lexington County Transit Work Group. So we finally met for the first time, and I was appointed last April. We finally had our first meeting. So this group is in regards to the ComEd, the county, and municipalities in Lexington County. And the most important news I can share with everyone is that our city is in good standing on our bill with the ComEd. So we're golden. So that's the most important news. And I did tell them that we would be honored for them to present in front of our council to give us new updates and to know about the stats on how our citizens are using the ComEd, and if there's any ways that we can be more efficient with making sure everyone in our city that doesn't have transportation are aware of ways that they can use the ComEd's transportation system. So very happy to know that we're good on our bill. Second, due to the weather next week, I just really advise people just to be cautious about the snow next week. You know, I know all the kids are excited about another snow day, but I would be cautioned to say if people can please be proactive with thinking about any supplies that they need to get them now, but also be considerate of other people. Because the last thing we would want is for people to be stranded or lacking of supplies. So please be cognizant of that. If you have batteries that need to be charged, I always tell my friends, make sure you're proactive and you charge them the night before to make sure you're not stuck in any situation just in case the power were to go out. So let's stay safe next week, and hopefully, you know, we just have a nice, beautiful snow day and we don't have any power outages or anything like that. And finally, I'll end with a quote: everyone can be great because everyone can serve, from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So last year, around this time, I had mentioned that I would love for our city to have some kind of MLK Day service project because I am a person about action. Sadly, throughout the year, I've been trying to work with some nonprofits to do some type of project, but sadly, things fell through. However, I'm somebody that I don't like this. I don't quit when obstacles come my way, and I like to imagine how if Dr. King and others doing the civil rights movement, imagine how they stopped when things fell through. Imagine if they didn't keep going, finding ways to push on. So I've decided to take it upon myself to host a trash cleanup, and if I would be honored for our city to join me on this Saturday from 9:30 to 11 a.m., and we're going to meet at Mount Zion, and we're going to pick up the trash in that area and honor Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. with our service and our actions. So if you have any questions, please contact me or look on my social media. It potentially can rain on Saturday, so I'll be on the lookout for that because I care about everyone's safety. So I'm excited for the opportunity to serve with my citizens in the city of Cayce. So I hope to see people there and pray the weather gets dry. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Thomas. I would love if you could put together the ways that our citizens can enact with the comment now that you're on that board.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Okay.
that our citizens do know about all the different ways that they can utilize not just the comment, but they have some partnerships with rider service,
Yes, ma'am.
services that will get people to doctor's appointments. So if you could share that from your information out to the citizens, that'd be great.
I would do that, yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
I've actually got a question, Councilman Thomas.
Yes.
Have there been any talks about adding a stop out with the DES moving out 12th Street yet?
Sadly, we did not discuss that at the meeting, but I did briefly talk to them about what's the process of adding stops, and that's one of those conversations that I want to, get with y'all about, because we need to be proactive about that.
Probably a great idea for us to come together as a council and even suggest that.
I think that they have services that are necessary, like Social Security and birth certificates out there, so. Cool.
Well, I mean, that has been suggested. With Dominion and Nephron out there, there's been long conversations with Comet. So look that stuff up
Yes,
first.
ma'am. I got you.
And bring that forward.
Yes, ma'am.
Yep.
Certainly adds to
Thank you.
it with that one coming out there.
Thanks. No comments outside of that.
Thank you. I would just, a couple of things. I know many of you know my dad and love him as much as I do. So I did want to share, he's in the hospital right now. I was delayed a few minutes because of that, but he's doing better, but I'd appreciate you keeping him in his prayers, so thank you. I also, there was an article that was written this week about our city that pitted our city against another city, and it was unfair to our citizens and our businesses, so I want to share some data. The article presupposes that our city had the same amount of blank buildable land that the other city did. We did not. They had a lot more previously unused land than Cayce did, and thus developers built on it. The article ignores any incentives given to developers for development. In Cayce, we protect our taxpayer dollars. Our growth has been organic, and we know that organic business development stays longer and invests in the fabric of communities more. I believe this is what our taxpayers want us to do with their money, is to not use it for incentives for businesses, but to be business-friendly and efficient, which we are, thanks to Jim and Mike and Monique and Shelley and Betsy and the utilities team, which is why you see all these cool retrofits and upfits happening in our city. A significant business development impact that was ignored in the article, but that keeps the fabric of our neighborhoods and our city. Tacos Nayarit, we recognized them recently. They're putting lots of money into an old bank building, and it will be the new hit restaurant location. Across from Brooklyn Cayce High School, same thing. A local developer is putting a large amount of money into upfitting that space that will give it its second life. Just like the businesses and the revitalization of the Cayce River Arts District have done. This comparison doesn't do anybody any good. It's as if all cities are the same and have the same blank slate to work with, as if they were off to the races and not unique. The article used a quote about our city from a mayor that is not your mayor. The quote was incorrect and not vetted, and if it had been, it would have been proven false and would have told the story of the developer who invested $2.1 million upfitting homes to create 7 professional households and homes that won't become rentals. And as that developer put it, it's easy to do business with Cayce. We have not stopped developers from developing. There was one developer who wanted city-owned property for his development, and that puts us in an even better position to make sure that it fits the standards of the neighborhood, that it makes you proud for this generation and the next, because that's how long development lasts. That's what our citizens have asked us to do. There were no specifics given on the negative attributes given to our city and our staff. Specifics that, if spelled out, could have been vetted and found untrue, as Barbara Wright would tell you, and Solange would tell you, and Walter Taylor would tell you. We have a new Montessori school that sought out a place in Cayce because it wanted to be here because of our vibrant city, thanks to our amazing staff. Trini Lime could have gone anywhere. The one focus that I appreciated in the article was the focus that council takes a measured approach. This council sets best practices that other cities have followed. This council listens to our citizens. Is there more we can do for economic development? Always. And we will continue to make you proud. We now have executive session for receipt of legal advice relating to claims and potential claims by and against the city and other matters covered by the attorney-client privilege, negotiations of contractual matters for the city manager's contract, discussion of possible employment of city attorney, discussion of employment for executive positions within the city. I believe you told me this was the police chief update and administrative update? And then discussion of Lexington County economic development projects. Is there a motion to go into executive session for said reasons?
Move that we enter executive session for said reasons.
Second.
Thank you. I'll call the question.
Mayor Pro Tem James.
Yes.
Councilmember Thomas.
Yes.
Councilmember Socks.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, thank you. So moved. In the South, we don't do that cold. Okay, thank you. So no actions were taken in executive session except to come out of executive session. Actually, I think we need an official vote to come out of executive session.
Reconvene.
I
We can
make
do
a
that.
motion that we come out of executive session.
Second.
I'll call the question.
Mayor Pro Tem James.
Yes.
Councilmember Thomas.
Yes.
Councilmember Socks.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, thank you, so moved. So possible actions by council and follow-up to executive session?
Yes, ma'am. I motion to postpone approval of the city manager's contract until the February 4th council meeting.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? And we appreciate our new attorney for looking into putting together the best contract in support of Jim, so thank you. Next,
Oh, full vote.
Yep.
We have to vote.
Mayor Pro Tem James.
Yes.
Councilmember Thomas.
Yes.
Councilmember Socks.
Yes.
Mayor.
yes, thank you, so moved. We have a possible action of an appointment of a city attorney?
Move that we appoint Mr. William Dillard as city attorney.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? I'll just state for the citizens that Will is currently the city attorney for the city of Forest Acres, and we hear amazing things about him. His resume is quite long, and we're excited to have him to join us and to be a part of our team and to help us to take care of our city. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Mayor. Excited to be here.
I'll call the question.
Mayor Pro Tem James.
Yes.
Councilmember Thomas.
Yes.
Councilmember Socks.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, thank you, so moved. Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I'll call the question.
Mayor Pro Tem James.
Yes.
Councilmember Thomas.
Yes.
Councilmember Socks.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, thank you, so moved.